Well, Razorback fans, we are live from San Francisco here in California for the Sweet 16, and Arkansas had some pretty big news. Apparently, Adou Thiero is going to play. So what's the impact on that? We'll talk about on today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Nabors. I am also the host of Inside Arkansas Live, which you can catch every weekday starting at noon on Inside Arkansas and InsideArkansas.com. Today's episode is brought to you by the all-new 2025 Nissan Armada. Stay with us for the Armada Team of the Week later in the episode. Hope everybody's having a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday, as there is a lot to get to, and I know a lot of people are excited about everything going on with basketball. It's kind of great, actually, to be in this position where so many people outside of Arkansas, like in the SEC, for instance, because we've done like SEC Locked On podcast and whatnot, they're talking about spring practice, like just spring practice for Razorback or for SEC football. And I'm going to be honest, I am extremely happy I'm not doing that. It's not to say it's not important. It's not to say that y'all don't want to hear about it, because I'm sure you do, at least in some capacity, but it's just nice to be able to have something really much more exciting and much more fun to talk about, like the Sweet 16 and Arkansas being here and everything. But there's just something that's as equally as exciting, where today, at the recording of this podcast, we're flying in to San Francisco. It's been a long day. It's been a marathon. But we were about to get on the plane, and we saw that John Calipari went on the Pat McAfee show on ESPN and was discussing some things, just kind of doing his car wash thing, but then kind of dropped the bomb that Adou Thiero will be ready to go, or returning to practice, returning to activities, going to play, however you want to put it. And I wouldn't call it a shock, but it was definitely oh, okay. All right. Sounds good. It just worked out perfectly like that. And so now it's got everybody talking that Adou Thiero's back. And so it's interesting because it's been a while since we've seen old Adou. He is a guy that obviously has a great skill set and led the Razorbacks in scoring for the majority of the season, and is such a valuable, flexible player. He's a jack of all trades. He can play big, but he can also work you down and play in a guard position almost. I mean, he has so much athleticism and ability that he can do so much for you. And, being the utility guy that he is, he's been missing. And it's been unfortunate that you haven't been able to see him very much over the past few weeks. But in spite of that, Arkansas continue to win, which is also pretty great. That's a good thing to have. But you're talking about nearly a month since we've seen Adou Thiero play. He played last against Missouri, that game that Arkansas won in Fayetteville, 92-85. He had 26 minutes in that game and 11 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, no turnovers. That was February 22nd. That's a long time ago. It's over a month ago. Long time since we've seen from Adou. And it's crazy to think about where Arkansas was at that point in time, because it was still up in the air as far as them being a tournament team. They had the nice win against Kentucky. They had the nice win against Texas at the time. They beat LSU at home, but then they played hard against A&M and Auburn. Who really cares if you're playing hard at that point? But then you beat Missouri, which was a nice win. But since that point, it just seems like it was eons ago, decades ago, since we've seen Adou Thiero. And it's almost like a forgotten guy, not in a bad way, not in a negative way, but just being honest, because of what the team's been able to do in his absence. They've been able to go on a run and really close out the season strong. They've been able to have some really nice wins. They've been able to go to the Sweet 16. And now, in this particular case, you're getting him back. And you can't help but continue to compare it to what we have seen, or what we want to believe with a Boogie Flan, for instance. Boogie Flan returned last weekend to the lineup, and he was good. And he's been good, and I expect him to continue to be good. But there was this almost like this weird thing in the background of, how's he going to work with the chemistry? Is he going to have a problem? Is other players going to have a problem with him coming in and going to take away their minutes or whatever it may be? there was an element of that. It may have been unfair, it may have been dumb, it may have been untrue, but there were still legitimate elements of that. But it doesn't feel that way with Adou Thiero because of how much he's played this season, but also maybe because of the fact that Boogie Fland played well in his return and they're in the Sweet 16, people are kind of saying, well, if he returned and they still made the Sweet 16, having Adou Thiero is just going to make it that much better. He's just going to do nothing but help the team because that's all you want to do right now. That's all you want to have anybody do is help the team. And it gives a new boost of confidence. You know, going into this game against Texas Tech, I've been feeling good. I've been feeling confident. I'm not saying it's an easy win or anything by that stretch, but it's been making me feel pretty good about the possibilities of Arkansas moving on to the Elite Eight at least. I like the matchup, and I think Texas Tech's a really good team, especially offensively. I mean, they hit their threes like crazy. Offensively, they're good. You know, they've had some guys injured and whatnot, but still, it's just if you take care of business against Kansas the way you did and St. John's, and when you play your best basketball, you're good enough to beat anybody. I know it's cliche to say, but it's true. You're good enough to beat anybody. And if you play a good game on Thursday against a team like Texas Tech, you will win the game. That's my confidence level. But folks, I felt that way before the news of Adou Thiero returning. I felt that way because look, I mean, the emergence of guys like Jonas, Adou, and Trevin Brazil have really added a whole new element of confidence in knowing that you can be a team that can be physical, that can guard bigs, that can go up against some of the nastiest ones, and you still find success in it. I think your guard play is really good. I think everybody knows the guard play is good. I mean, right now, for crying out loud, like Nelly Davis, Boogie Fland, DJ Wagner, you know you got those guys. You know they're good. You know what you're going to get out of them. And then, you know, you throw into the mix guys like Carter Knox and Billy Richmond, who are also very versatile. But as great as those guys are, there's just something about what Adou Thiero does and what he adds into it to where no matter who you go up against, he's either one of two things. Thero, and again, this is any team in college basketball, he's one of two things. He's either someone that's going to help you match up a lot better against particular teams because of his size and athleticism, or he is somebody that's going to be a bad matchup for somebody else. Like, that's all he is. That's all he will be. He will be a guy that will either cause you problems as a team or slow you down as a team because of the way he plays and because of his aggressiveness and his athleticism. And so being able to have him now back for the Razorbacks, again, I was already confident. I was already feeling good. But, man, it's really hard to not think that as long as Thero is 100% healthy, as long as he comes in and plays the way that we've all seen him before, which I know is a lot to ask since he's been out for over a month. I'm not sitting here and saying that he has to play 30, 35 minutes. But if he's playing well, then I want Cal to play him as much as possible. But I think he's good enough, and I think he's talented enough, and I think he's shown enough to where he can be that problem. And so for that, I mean, how can you not be excited about the possibilities? You already were, but how can you not be more excited? I think Texas Tech is a good team. Again, I'm respecting them. So I don't want anyone taking it for granted. And I'm not even guaranteeing an Arkansas win. So also don't misconstrue that. I am just telling you that there is reasons to be confident because Arkansas has only gotten better as this season has gone on. And they only got better last weekend having Boogie Fland in the lineup. And I'm sorry, stop traffic. I think they're going to be even better when they get Adou Thiero back on the team, back playing consistently, back being that guy. So assuming this is all true and it's all going to work out, then, man, it's hard not to get overly excited. It's hard not to expect too much. But I like that feeling, you know? I get it. We all have PTSD as Razorback fans. It's part of it. It's just in our nature. It's in our DNA. But there's nothing wrong with having excitement, even if it ends in disappointment. I've slowly become to realize that a little bit more, and I try to work on that. Let yourself get excited on occasion, you know, especially when it's justified. This team being in the Sweet 16, there's reason to be excited. There's reasons to feel good about the possibilities. There's reasons to feel good about what this could end up being. There's reasons to feel good about you doing something this season and in this postseason that you haven't done since 1995, making the Final Four. You have reasons to be pumped up and excited. Don't run away from them. Embrace them. Embrace the excitement. Embrace the energy. Because this could get really fun for Arkansas. And it just feels so good to have Adou Thiero back. I can't wait to see what he does. But speaking of that, we're going to talk about this season. Is it a success no matter what at this point? If Arkansas' season ended against Texas Tech, is it a success? We'll get to that and a lot more on the other side of the break, so stay with us here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, Razorback fans, I am here to tell you about the Armada Team of the Week, which is brought to you by our friends over at Nissan and the all-new 2025 Nissan Armada. Each week, our Locked On College basketball experts are picking one team that stands apart. From top-seeded stars to the unexpected upsets, these guys showcase their strength and sheer power to push their team forward. This week's Armada and clear-cut team of the week is the Arkansas Razorbacks. How about that? I didn't make that up. That's the real thing. Despite losing their first 5 SEC games, I don't know if y'all heard that, Coach Cal's Hogs fought their way through the most rugged conference in college basketball to not only make the NCAA tournament, but to knock off back-to-back national champion and Hall of Fame coaches en route to the Sweet 16. They accomplished all of this without their second leading scorer, Boogie Flan, for most of SEC play, and without leading a scorer and rebounder, Adou Thiero, so far in the NCAA tournament. Who would have guessed that we'd be talking about this? But when it comes to the Nissan Armada, they say go forth and conquer, and that's exactly what the Arkansas Razorbacks have done here. So it's clear that our team of the week is out there ready to conquer the road ahead with confidence, just like you can with the all-new Nissan Armada and any Nissan's outstanding vehicles. Take the Nissan Armada, Rogue, or Pathfinder and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. All right, so moving on into the next segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. This becomes the question that I feel like is fascinating for different reasons, and it's pretty, maybe it's cliche, but it's about the story of success, and it's about the question of success for the Razorback basketball team. You're in the Sweet 16. I just mentioned about the excitement that you have, and you have every reason to be excited. I mean, for crying out loud, again. You're in the Sweet 16. That's something to be excited about. The energy is high. We'll talk about some San Francisco first impressions and everything, but the vibes are high. The energy's high. I know that there are so many of you that are coming to San Francisco for the first time in a long time. And some of you are coming here and just because of the Sweet 16 action. You didn't go the previous 3 times that Arkansas has made it, but this time you are. I mean, again, it is so high right now. You can't help but be excited and feeding off of that energy. But it is the Sweet 16, and you very easily could have your season end on Thursday. It could end tomorrow against Texas Tech. Now, you don't want that. I don't want that. I'm not going to predict it, but it is a possibility. So let's play the what-if game. I should say the if game. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying. If Arkansas has their season come to an end against Texas Tech and they make the Sweet 16, is the season a success? Well, my answer to you is yes. Plain and simple. It's a success. Now, it can be disappointing that it ended in the Sweet 16, especially considering that the game could go a million different ways. It could go good. It could go bad, for sure. But before the season started, I felt, and you can go back and listen to the tape, go back to the Locked On Razorbacks podcast and check it out. But I felt like before the season started, if this team was able to make the Sweet 16, I'd be happy. At minimum, I'd be happy. And it wasn't because of Arkansas's talent was only good enough to be in the Sweet 16. It had nothing to do with that. What that had to do with was simply knowing and understanding how difficult it is to win in the NCAA tournament. Regardless of your talent level, regardless of the people you have returning, regardless of who your coach is, it happens, and it happens often. Every Hall of Fame coach, the best of the best, the greatest, have had major letdowns in the NCAA tournament. Coach K, Roy Williams, Bill Self, John Calipari. The greatest and best Hall of Fame coaches have always had letdowns. So when I said get to the Sweet 16 would be considered a success, again, it wasn't about, well, that's it because that's all you can do. That's all you're good enough for, and that's all. What that is to me is just showcasing that, hey, you at least made it interesting. You at least got into the point to where you're being talked about, you're discussed, and you got people excited about it. And you won 2 games in the NCAA tournament, which is extremely difficult to do. And maybe you win more. But regardless of what happens tomorrow, I am going to be content with the way, maybe not the way the season went because there are so many downs, but I'm going to be content with the way the season ended. I'm going to be bummed, but I'm going to be saying, hey, good job, Hogs, being able to do what you did with what you had in the circumstances you were in. Let's fix it all and get better next year. I mean, it's plain as simple as that. And some of you may not like that. I don't understand why you would be in that camp, why you would have issues with that. But to me, man, being here where you were a few months ago and just 2 months ago, I mean, it's still incredible. And you have to take everything into perspective of it. You got to take everything with a grain of salt in some cases, but you have to understand the pathways and the difficulties that come along with it. I want Arkansas to break through. Of course I do. I want Arkansas to go to a Final Four. I want them to go to a national championship. And with John Calipari, the expectation is that at some point in time in his tenure here at Arkansas, he's going to do that. That's my expectation for him. You know, saying he's only here for 5 years, there better be a Final Four in that. That's my next expectation. I would love a national championship. But again, I try to keep it all in perspective and try to keep it at least understanding to how people feel, how the difficulty of things and matchups and crapshoots and randomness and luck, all of that goes into it. And anything above that is just house money. Now, if Arkansas goes and wins against Texas Tech and they go to the Elite Eight and lose, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. Anything past that. If they go to the Final Four this year, folks, just worth every cent, penny, everything. Coach Cal, 100%. Worth it all. Love it. It's just, Arkansas is back. And if they dare, if they mess around, and they win a national championship, or even compete for one, play for one in the national title game, I don't really know what I'm going to do. But man, I sure would like to see how that goes. I'd sure like to see how that plays out. But the answer to the question, folks, is yes. No matter what happens against Texas Tech, I consider the 6th season a success. And you may not. That's fine. But I'm happy. I'm happy with the direction. I'm happy with what they've done this year. But don't let it in there. Don't let it just be happiness. Just basic happiness. Let it be more than that. Keep going on a run. Keep making it happen. And let's see what you got. Well, I'll give a little vibe check here in the city of San Francisco on the outside of the break. So stay with us here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, Razorback fans, I am here to tell you about Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site that made you for skilled trade, Supply House. Whether you're into plumbing, HVAC, electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order your products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest of all product info that will help you get the job done right. Plus, with an inventory of over 200,000 parts and 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. You need help with an order, Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, and now it's your turn. So join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the bracket breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
All right, so final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Just a quick vibe check here in San Francisco. Again, I arrived. I'm not on very much sleep. It's been a crazy travel arrangements over the past couple of weeks, but it's been worth it. But I'll tell you this, it's beautiful weather here, and it's an awesome city, and we have an awesome spot. I'm actually doing it from the Airbnb, this Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I don't know if this is where I'm going to be doing it every day, but it's certainly awesome. I wish I could show you. I have a sauna in my room. No big deal. But I'll say this, it's a cool city. There's obviously some areas you want to avoid, but the city is really cool. And I think it's a great spot for an NCAA tournament game and matchup. And the Chase Center is really cool where the Warriors play, because Arkansas was here just a few years ago. And it's awesome. And I could be just maybe misreading the room. Maybe it was a different time. Maybe it was a different format, feel. But I feel like Arkansas is going to have more fans here for this game than what they did a few years ago. And I was trying to think of maybe to the reason as to why. And I don't think it's because of the excitement level, because let's be honest, it's exciting to go to Sweet 16 no matter what. And I don't even know if it's because, you felt better about one team or the other, because, I mean, you're in the Sweet 16. It's hard to feel bad about a team. But to me, I feel like the vibes are a little bit higher because 3 years ago, you had made it to the Elite Eight the previous year, and you were going into it again, but you were going up against Gonzaga, #1 overall seed. And if you beat them, you're going to be going up against Duke, Coach K, his last hurrah, which you knew they were going to get all the calls. So it felt like, not that you were outmatched and outgunned, but it was just going to take a heck of an effort, to overcome all of the things that are going to be against you to win those games. But in this one, it's not to say, again, that these teams are bad, because they're not. And it's not to say that Arkansas is going to for sure win, because we don't know. But going up against a Texas Tech team, it's not something that's just like, oh, gosh. Oh, man, they're just too much for Arkansas to handle. We'll just be lucky to be there. Doesn't feel that way. And the same thing goes with even if you face Florida or Maryland, either one. It's like, how do you not get excited about the fact that you could go up against Florida? Because, Todd Golden's done a great job, but he's not some Hall of Fame coach that's going to get all the calls. It's not like the fans from Florida are going to be coming in. It's going to be home court advantage for him. It's not going to be anything like that. Same thing with Maryland. Like, these are programs that are good. They've had great years, but I don't see them as some intimidating place that I just, oh, geez, we'll just be lucky if we can compete. It doesn't feel that way. It feels stronger. It feels better. It feels, It feels like you can be the team. You can be that program. You can be the dominant force. You can do that. You just, got to do it. Easy, right? Easy work. But I love the vibes here. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a great week. Hopefully it's a long week. A lot of stuff, a lot of Razorback content. So be sure to subscribe here on the great Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Of course, you can find it each and every day. Appreciate each and every one of you listening and watching, and be sure to subscribe to it on YouTube, as well as follow us on wherever podcasts are found, Apple, as well as Spotify and Google Play, all that good stuff too. And we'll keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. See you then.